Phil, after good work at Chester and at Alfreton, the wheel came off a bit on Tuesday night.
Was that a singular, the wheel, or was it wheels? Because it felt like the wheels came off. Having said that, the first 15-20 minutes of the game, I thought we, for an away performance, started out very well. Not just the goal, an opportunity for Ash Emmons just after the goal to make it 2, and then Maz Kuya hit the woodwork, I think, either the post or the crossbar. And all in all, as a manager away from home, that kind of a start you would expect to grow from, not actually descend into carnage just after a red card and almost like we threw our toys out the pram and collapsed a wee bit. And that's not acceptable behaviour in terms of how I look at the camp. And it's very uncharacteristic, if truth be known, how much the wheels did come off. But it's a warning sign that it can happen, and it can happen at any level. Whether it be Champions League, if you're watching that last night, or National League North, which we sampled on Tuesday night. It's not, as I said after the game, back to the drawing board. It was simply a case of over the last 24-48 hours of trying to find a reset button and pressing it, and getting back to what we're good at. And I know for a fact the basics of this group of players is excellent. You know, the hard work, the attitude, the mentality, the organisation normally is spot on. But on Tuesday night, it didn't happen for a 20-25 minute period, and then consequently we found ourselves 3-1 down in half time and down to 10 men. The half time message, Trev, was quite simple. It was a case of we train on this kind of surface and we embrace the football that we play on that kind of surface, and that's what I wanted them to do. I wanted to try and show Marine in the second half what a good footballing team we are. And we did to a certain extent, but when you're down to 10 men, it's always anxiety kicks in, and you know, you're looking for your leadership qualities where the senior players are concerned, and then you're looking for fresh legs off the bench. You can't really do much where systems are concerned, but I wanted to try and leave 2 up top if I possibly could do, to try and get a goal, nick a goal, whatever. And if it got to 3-2, who knows? But it didn't get to 3-2, and it stayed at 3-1, and we'd come away from Marine with nothing. So 3 away matches, 4 points. Not a good return if you're in a promotion hunt, not a good return if you're trying to get into a title contending team, and not a good return in terms of if you want to stay in the playoffs. We've now got a couple of venues at home, or a couple of games at home, starting on Saturday against very good opposition, potent opposition, both of them, both Spennymoor and Kings Lynn, but we'll not go anywhere near the Kings Lynn game until 5 o'clock on Saturday night. It's been harsh. There's been some true words, and I can only say true because if I'm harsh to somebody, it's because it comes out of the truth. And I've looked at what did we do wrong on Tuesday night. Did we prepare them wrong? Did we play the wrong system? Did I pick the wrong team? And all of that after 20 minutes was nullified by your 1-0 up, should have been 2, could have been 3. And then a red card comes along after the equalising goal, which was an absolute world-class goal. That was scored at the Bernabeu last night. You would have said, yeah, probably it deserves to be on that stage, but it wasn't. It was at Marine against Kidderminster. But there's players at this level that are capable of doing what they did on Tuesday night. But the second and the third goal with the alarm bell for me. You know, the way how easy the ball came into our penalty box. So one, we're not working hard enough to close it down, which is a rarity to us. So you're not stopping crosses, which is a basic that I have emphasised all season and started off in pre-season, to be fair. And then not putting my head on the ball, first contact when it comes into your 6-yard box or your penalty box. If you couple them two in any division, you're going to concede goals. So as I say, it's not back to the drawing board, it's just finding that reset button and where do we press it.
Among the more frustrating elements, I'm guessing, was that the third goal was virtually a carbon copy of the second, really.
Yeah, same player, and probably hasn't scored 2 goals in his career, if truth be known, but they put the ball into an area of the field of play that they probably, you know, a lot of teams have tried to do, identify the lack of inches in Joe Fawkes and Caleb Richards when they play fullback. But I've never seen either one of them being done at the back post. I think one, we work hard to stop a decent cross coming in. We weren't doing that. And then secondly, the body position and the strength of the two fullbacks that I'm talking about in particular are normally good enough starting positions to get something on it or make it ugly or disrupt it. But a free header at the back post, it's just not us. It was a very uncharacteristic spell, it has to be said. When Riley was sent off, which was critical in terms of, you know, conceding the 2 goals after that. And I'm not saying when we went down to 10 men, you know, Marine stepped up to the plate and then beat because of that. We just didn't seem to deal with the fact that the basics of the game are quite simple. You know, you stop balls coming into your box with any kind of quality. So it doesn't matter what level you're playing at. If you try and do that, and then if the ball does come into the box, it's not with the quality that Marine produced on Tuesday night. And consequently, Caleb Richards would have been able to defend his back post a little bit better. And if not, Paul Downing would have.
I've seen the video footage of the sending off. I'm assuming the club is going to appeal that.
Very much so, Trev. And, you know, it's not a case of, I'm not one of these managers that bemoans the refereeing at this level. It's the refereeing. They've got to make big decisions, tough decisions. I think the referee snatched at his red card, if truth be known. He never thought about it. And if he thought about it, he would see, quite simply, because he was close enough to see that, he would see quite simply that the man's head, the player who tried to head the ball, was heading it almost below knee height, let alone below waist height. And when you bend down that far, that's not dangerous play as far as we're concerned. It's dangerous play as far as he's concerned, putting his head down there. You can't expect me to stop players from trying to engage with the ball when somebody's putting his head at that height. It's not, as I say, Riley wasn't he wasn't transgressing the laws. He wasn't in danger of causing the player damage because of how high his foot went. It was the right height to kick a ball. It was as simple as that. So the referees clearly got caught up in the game, got caught up in the, I don't know, you want to talk about the heat of the battle if necessary, but referees are not in a battle. Referees are there to administer the laws of the game and referee accordingly, and he didn't do that.
So you have appealed the decision. As we're speaking now, I don't think you've heard the outcome of that appeal, but just to be clear, Riley is available for selection on Saturday because those are the rules of the league, really.
They are, yes, and the question about the rules of the league are we seriously considering the referee changing it from a red to a yellow, or are we considering what the league are going to throw at us if we do appeal it, which can go from one game suspension to 2. So that's where we lie. It's almost a threat from them, and it's not a threat from us at all. You know, it's a case of, come on, let's make some sense. Why do we have video cameras? Why do we take footage, you know, of games? The reason so we can retrospectively make decisions, and if we can't, then I think the league needs to address that situation.
Is there a third option there? Because yes, we all know some clubs tried it on. Clubs have tried it on forever in terms of appealing red cards. But if you appeal and the decision's upheld, but they can look at it and say, well, we can see why Harriers did appeal, because it did look very dodgy, so should we say, that it remains at a 1-match ban. Is that a third option?
I would imagine it should be, as the way you've described it there, Trevor. But you know, it's almost like there's 3 teams out there. We know that, and we fully respect the opposition, and we fully respect the men in the middle. And I don't think you can't say our record this season has not advocated that. But bottom line is, when a referee does get it wrong, you know, and they will, and so will I. I'll get team selection wrong. I'll get decisions wrong, and so will players. So we know that it's a game of mistakes, but if he retrospectively looks at it and he allows the appeal to go ahead, then why change it from a 1? Why change it from a 1 to a 2? Why change it from a 2 to a 3? Let's deal with it like men and see, was it a right decision or a wrong decision? As simple as that. And it's dead easy for the referee to look at it and say, I made a mistake there. We've been punished sufficiently because we've lost the game. Did we lose the game because we were down to 10 men? It could have been the case. It certainly would have been on a Saturday if you decide Spennymoor, I was just going to send 10 men out there. I would have said we'll have a better chance of winning the game. So, you know, the only decision I think that's got to be made is the referee looks at it and say, red was harsh, I'll change it to a yellow, and the lad can play on.
Back here then, this weekend, you would know better than I would now that you could do with a win. I think it's 1 win in 7.
Yes, we could have done. I could do with a win. I could do a win back-to-back wins if truth be known, but we're preparing every game, Trevor, for a win. We're preparing every game to understand what the opposition can throw at us. But at the moment, it's understanding my own team. It's understanding what we're going through and making sure I pick the right team. And if I pick the right team on Saturday, I think it'll be sufficient to cause Spennymoor problems. That's all we can do. If we've got the gonads on the day to put the ball in the back of the net when moments come along, then it could be a good day at the office. But at the same time, we know they're potent and they can score goals, and they're up there on a reason. They've got their own mission. Bottom line is our mission is to address the situation that we're finding ourselves in and play the same kind of football, if you like, to a certain extent, as we did at Alfreton, which was strong. It was based on a foundation of winning second balls and playing from there on what wasn't conducive to a good game of football, but we got the ball down and we played a sufficient amount of football to cause Alfreton problems. It could have been more than 2, it wasn't, but we kept a clean sheet, and that kind of mentality is going to be of paramount importance on Saturday.
I was interested when you said just then that it's understanding your own team, because I'm sure people listening will think, well, here we are in the middle of February, you should probably be able to understand your own team by now.
Of course you would, but it changes. It changes, the mentality of a group changes when you're in the side as a player on a regular basis. You understand the manager and what's required, but then all of a sudden the opposition can throw something different. And understanding my team means that we're in the thick of the battle. We established what the basics were in the thick of the battle pre-season, which is over 3 months ago. You would fully expect the team to be au fait with our basics and our system and our way of playing and our style of football and all the plaudits that we've been receiving. You know, but bottom line is, at this moment in time, out there is not conducive to playing great football, although you can play on it, there's no doubt about it. The conditions are changing as winter does, as autumn does. And more importantly, the opposition become more and more stubborn because they know what's coming out of your changing room. So you've got to find a way. Good teams always do. And at this moment in time, we're struggling to find a way to beat the opposition because of the way they are stubbornly playing against us. What we've got to do is express ourselves when we've got the ball and be obstinate, shall we say, when they've got the ball. We haven't got that balance at the moment, so that's all I'm talking about understanding the team.
I've seen Spennymoor a few times over the last 2 or 3 years, and one thing they've done, they seem to have kept the core of the squad together there.
Yeah.
You think about Glenn Taylor up front, who's been there since dinosaurs around the earth, basically. I think he scored his 200th goal not long ago. Ramshaw in midfield's another player who seems to have been around for a while. They've done that well, and they've kind of built around that core.
They have. We've had a look at the striker. Would he improve us? I think a lot of teams at this division and probably above would say yes, but he seems as if he's at the club that he was, I don't know, whether he's been involved in the club for a long time, but he seems to have work in that area, he seems to have his family in that area, and there's lots of reason for him to play for Spennymoor. So, you know, he's comfortable in his situation, shall we say that, and very comfortable for him is scoring goals. We've got to make it uncomfortable for him on Saturday. If I'm a defender, I've got to think about how to stop him from playing, and more importantly, stop him from scoring goals.
That must be a problem you run into when you're looking to bring in players from other clubs at this level, because a lot of them, of course, are part-time players. They've got probably decent jobs, some of them, and to go from being in that situation to full-time professional and probably earning less at times, it's not exactly a great enticement, is it really?
It depends on what you do, Trev. It depends on what you are and who you are. I've been in professional football for a long time now, and you know, if somebody offered me my old job back as an electrician that could earn more money than what I'm doing now, would I consider it? It's not for me. It's football's my life.
But if you're establishing a career, or some of them are,
I get it. No, but it becomes more of a, even if you want to call it a religion, you know, it's something that you live, you breathe, everything about you is football, and that's me. If I was asked to go part time, I think you might as well chop one of my arms off or chop one of my legs off. But at the end of the day, I understand that that's the level, and you know, there's ways and means of getting a tune out of players, and some of them is the fact that they are part time. That's the reason why you get the tune out of them. They're professional in their own mindset, though. I think professionalism is quite easy. It's doing the right things when nobody's watching. That's professional to me. So you don't have to be full time to be professional. Charlie
Lutz, you brought him in on loan from Aston Villa. He's had a few subs appearances. What are your plans for him? Is he going to get a start at some point soon?
Charlie's okay. Charlie's he's working hard in the behind the scenes. I've spoken to his coach on a couple of occasions who I know quite well. who was over in India when I was over there. And he's got a future, he's got a career, there's no doubt about it, but he just needs to get minutes on the field to play. Again, one of them strikers that's come in and he's looking at a wall of players that can be creative, that can be productive, that they've got a goal in them. But I need a return, or it might be time to move them, or change personnel, or whatever the case may be. But after, as I said, Tuesday night, pressing the reset button might just be pressing the reset button on one or two players as well, you know, giving them a chance to come out and resting and having a look at what else is in the team, to tell you the truth. I think the squad that we've got is still quite strong in depth. We have got one or two little niggles because of Saturday Tuesday situation, but that's life at this level. But as I say, my job is to pick the right team, pick the right formation, and I hopefully have worked on the mentality over the last 48 hours to make sure that what happened at Marine doesn't happen again.
When you spoke after the game at Marine, Reece Devine, you said had been ill, so hadn't travelled. Is he available for the weekend?
He is, yes. He was down with an illness there's been bugs flying around since Christmas, I should imagine. And he's got a family, young family, and you know what kids are like, to pick up bugs left, right and centre from nursery and from school and whatever. Reece couldn't play on Tuesday, but he's trained well today. Fingers crossed he'll be okay tomorrow in time for Saturday.
And I ask you this regularly, are you still looking to add to the squad? I mean, everybody says, you know, it's the old thing, you need an experienced cover up front, or that sort of thing. Yeah. Are you still looking in that area?
Still looking. Yeah, still on the go. It's one of them there. I think it's time to maybe press the button with regards to one or two. I think there's been one or two on the periphery that have sort of had half chances at the clubs that they're at, and all they want to do, players at any level, all they want to do is play. When they come here, they train like a Charlie Lutz and like a Kai Robinson, and they train and they realise what good quality players we've got here. So you've got to be better than the quality or shall not play the players that have come. But at the same time, they're learning on the training ground every day, they're learning from the environment, they're learning from the players that we've got in the change room. We've got great experience, but at the same time, my needs are now, we need to start winning games of football to make sure that we're hanging in there, to make sure that we're thereabouts at the end.
Because if you're going to do it, you've got about a month now. I think it's a Thursday in March usually is deadline day.
Yeah, the old-fashioned way.
And final question, injuries after Tuesday night, how are you looking?
Yeah, just one or two things happened on the training ground today. It was a competitive day's training, and we've had one or two physical returns, and we had a lot of supporters at the training ground today that came down for the half term, and it was great to see the young Kidderminster Harriers supporters watching the training session, but they watched a fully blooded, brutal session, and there was one or two bumps and bruises after it, you know. Is that something I'm advocating? I'm advocating competition for places. That's as simple as it gets, and I think supporters might have got away with a good impression, or a bad impression, I'm not too sure. As long as I can get my strongest team out on Saturday, fingers crossed that'll be enough.